Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now it's round two in the drawn-out process of picking presidential candidates in the US. Voting is underway in the New Hampshire primary, with Donald Trump, the frontrunner for the Republicans, hoping for the victory which eluded him in Iowa last week. For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton seems destined to lose to Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Even young women aren't sufficiently tempted by the prospect of the first female president, preferring instead the socialist vision promised by Mr. Sanders. Kylie Morris joins us now from Manchester, New Hampshire, where she's been tracing Hillary Clinton's failure to connect.
Well, Kathy, the poll's been open for a few hours now. It's been an extraordinary experience, actually, being here the last few days, talking to these voters. They're very energised, they're very engaged and well informed about this process. They're very proud of it. Many of them, though, say that they won't necessarily make up their minds until they walk into those polling booths today. But as you say, what's very clear is that Hillary Clinton will really struggle here. She should be the front runner. The story that her campaign has been spinning in places like this media centre for the last few days is that she is the underdog, that Bernie Sanders has some kind of advantage because he comes from neighbouring Vermont, that he's using kind of magical fairy dust revolutionary talk to persuade young voters to follow him. But her real problem is that she is being deserted by people who should be at the very core of her support, by her own reckoning, women. They began arriving early, sidestepping the snow to cast their votes. Just slip behind the Lady Liberty curtain, tick a box, and your democratic duty is done. A footnote to months of fierce campaigning. Now they get their streets back from the candidates on every corner.
It is absolutely surreal to live in New Hampshire during the political cycle. I've had friends say before, I will not vote for a presidential candidate unless they have been in my living room. It's incredible.
Mary Jo Brown and Alison Pyatt are clearly both enjoying the process, but they're politically at odds. Mary Jo is thrilled by the prospect of Hillary in the White House. Alison not so much, as the nation discovered when she slung a question at the candidate last week.
A number of factors have eroded trust in you. What will you do to regain that trust, engender trust in Americans and me?
I have to really demonstrate as clearly as I can who I am, what I stand for, and what I've always done. I've always been guided by the same values. I have always listened to people, and I've always worked as hard as I could to produce results for people.
But all Hillary's efforts failed to convince Alison she can trust her more than Bernie Sanders on the issues she cares about.
Income inequality and campaign finance reform. I know she supports those, but that's his passion. I mean, you just feel it out of him. And she's talked about it, but you don't feel that same level of passion, so you don't trust that she really cares about those issues.
Trust may be an old-fashioned value, but it's a term the women of Portsmouth reach for with grim predictability to explain why they won't vote for Hillary. Mary Jo fears younger voters turning to Bernie are blind to the significance of placing her in the White House.
If there is a younger generation who doesn't fully appreciate the sisterhood of Hillary Clinton, that it may relate to just a lack of understanding the work that it took to get where we even are right now.
Here we go! Back in 2008, before there was Zumba, before there was a black president, Hillary Clinton persuaded New Hampshire to put her first. But this is a state known for its independent attitudes and independent women voters. There's little sense they'll line up behind her now as they did then.
It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. It has to be somebody that knows what they're doing.
I don't find that Hillary represents me as a hardworking woman who's trying to pay the bills and has an education and has worked since I was 12 years old. So I don't feel like she's representative or is in touch with that anymore.
The Clinton campaign has pushed back against the doubts that have emerged in this picture postcard state for American democracy. And well, the claws have come out. This is what a key advocate, Madeleine Albright, said at the weekend.
Just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
It's hard to tell whether Hillary is gasping with delight or sheer horror. Perhaps she understood it wouldn't go down well with the voters of New Hampshire.
I took it personally as a Bernie supporter because I feel like I do support women, and I just feel like that's not the only reason to elect someone to be our president.
Andy's mum, Lisa, supports her daughter's right to back Bernie, but she'll be voting for Hillary to continue the change already begun by President Obama.
Everything he did was in such small steps, and it was so difficult, and I think Hillary is ready to continue the progress he's made and not let it backslide.
I don't think of it more as undoing what's been done. I think it's taking that and saying we can do more, we can do better for this country, and it doesn't have to just be these small, tiny, not that they're tiny, we made great progress, I don't want to, but we don't have to just make it be one small step at a time.
There are 3 generations to consider. Both Andy and Lisa are looking for a legacy president, one to consolidate the changes of the past, the other to make changes for the future.
Well, that's the Democrat family, but the Republican race is looking pretty lively too, isn't it, Kylie?
Lively is the word. We may finally discover tonight, Kathy, that Donald Trump is, as he has been declaring for many months now, in fact, a winner. There is no one particularly close to him in the polling before the booths opened, at least today. There is an interesting race, certainly for second and third place, between establishment favourites, people like John Kasich, who's the governor of Ohio, and even that little herd of kind of political family, Jeb Bush, may well do well tonight. But I think really the interesting thing here is the fact that Donald Trump is really barreling toward winning New Hampshire, and if he does that, he will grasp the all-important commodity here, momentum, and he will hope that that will drive him all the way to the Republican nomination.
Kylie, enjoy the fireworks. Thanks very much.
I've been getting away with it all